In 1991, director John Badham directed The Hard Way, a very entertaining and underrated action comedy in which Michael J. Fox stars as actor Nick Lang, who in an effort to research a role, partners up with hard-ass homicide detective John Moss, played by James Woods. The two end up tracking down a serial killer known as the Party Crasher, played by Stephen Lang. Now the reason I bring that up to you, other than you should see it, is that plot is almost the exact same plot as episode 4 of Tequila and Bonetti, titled Real Life. An action movie star rides along with Tequila and Bonetti in order to research a role, and they get involved with a case involving gangland assassinations. So that's not quite Stephen Lang as the Party Crasher. Then again, The Hard Way didn't have a talking dog in it, so there's room for some minor differences. That way they don't get sued. Let's see if this episode begins with Tequila in a good mood.
Man, why don't you just put me out of my misery?
Now that may seem like he's being lazy, but to be fair to Tequila, he was shot last week. Though he has other reasons for being annoyed, other than his recently healed bullet wound.
I got tar on my paws, salt in my eye, and sand all over my unmentionables.
Not sure how sand got there, but that's probably the most sanitary thing you've licked off of your unmentionables. Bonetti is soon stopped and ticketed for taking tequila on the beach without a leash.
Oh, come on, lady, give me a break. I'm just running on the beach over here.
Oh, and he's also ticketed for being a stereotype in public. It could be so much worse, though. Tequila could be pissing on things.
Just be grateful I didn't see him.
See me what? See me what?
Well, that might be a new record on how quick it took for tequila to piss on something. That's even quicker than the last episode, which was mostly made up of tequila pissing on clues throughout the whole episode. And thus ends this opening scene gag.
See there? I told you jogging was bad for you.
With all the silly things that have happened in these episodes, I'm surprised this is the first one that ends with the comedic slap on the face. Though this is the only time I could think of where the comedy slap is followed by dead kid. Tequila and Bonetti have no time to worry about tickets because an unknown assassin is wiping out drug dealers.
What happened? Somebody at the lottery?
Not exactly. Another dealer bought the farm last night.
Yeah, that's why they call it dope.
Thanks, Tequila. Is McGruff your role model for the week? While Bonetti wants to solve the gangland murder case, Captain Knight is putting other officers in charge. Or as Tequila puts it...
Let's let Detective Lee handle that, okay?
What? We're being bumped for the second string?
What? Tequila is looking for more and more complicated ways of saying they're being screwed. All of this has to do with movie star Chad Rydell, who I guess starred in a movie called Jungle Gunner. That poster's so cheap, even the Ghana poster industry would turn it down. Did Garcia's daughter draw this? This is supposed to be a mainstream movie. Bruno Mattei's posters look a million times better than this. Then again, Jungle Gunner isn't a real movie. In one weird moment, Bonetti jokes about the poster, but they both pause as if they're waiting for Tequila to say a line.
I think if I had to carry a gun like that, I'd probably get a hernia.
You don't recognize him, do you?
That was a real Garfield minus Garfield moment. They both look awkward and crazy. Chad Rydell supposedly has the biggest grossing movies of the past 5 years. And with a poster like that, I guess the biggest grossing movies in this universe have a budget of $10,000. Rydell wants to tag along with Bonetti to research his role.
Turns out that Chad Rydell's next picture is a police action drama entitled Bloodbath in Brooklyn.
I gather it's not a comedy.
Don't be so sure. I've now seen plot lines involving parking lot rapists that includes a talking dog. And by the way, Tequila seems extra jivey this morning.
I find real life scary enough.
Yeah, I heard that, homie.
Hell, he even starts bracing the audience for incoming plot points.
It turns out that Chad also took an interest in getting some first-hand police training for his new film.
Here it comes, y'all.
I think I can handle it, Tequila. I've seen The Hard Way many times. Bonetti brings up a very good point that they should be working on the homicide case, but Captain Knight has other ideas.
It would be such a shame if said detective were unavailable due to some reassignment to, say, parking detail.
What are you doing, blackmailing me?
That's right, he's blackmailing Bonetti into chaperoning a movie star when there's a gangland serial murder on the streets, making this an episode where Captain Knight really isn't very good at his job. Tequila, on the other hand, seems rather ambivalent.
Excuse me?
Look out, Hollywood. Here we come.
I wish it's been over 20 years and we still haven't gotten our Tequila and Bonetti movie. They arrive at Chad Rydell's house, which is a very nice and beautiful mansion, but I think Tequila can put it in a better way.
Man, funky fresh. Now this is what I call living large.
I think it was part of every 90s television series to include the phrase funky fresh somewhere in the dialogue. Tequila is very impressed.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, all right. Makes me wonder how I can get a crib like this.
You're a dog who understands and could probably write English. If only you would show your powers to people, you could probably live in a crib like that. The door is answered by Rydell's assistant / bodyguard, Brunette Nielsen, she-wolf of South Coast. And then we get our first look at movie star Chad Rydell.
Forgive me. My manager needs an occasional butt kicking. I'd fire him, but he's my dad.
So his wacky attitude doesn't really spark with Bonetti, but he knows how to get on Tequila's good side.
Why don't we introduce Officer Tequila to Fifi? Does he like poodles?
Does George Foreman like cheeseburgers?
All you need to do is serve him a plate of burritos afterwards and you'll be set. But does he just keep random poodles laying around in case he wants to impress a dog who wants to fuck it? I don't know how Bonetti couldn't like Rydell. He's played by John D'Aquino, everyone's favorite neighbor on That's My Bush. Rydell needs his new film to be a hit for one reason.
See, my last picture only grossed $30 million.
Well, if you blamed poor promotional material, you'd probably be right. Or maybe it's his cartoonish ego.
I want to feel what you feel. The adrenaline rush of a life and death situation. Sirens screeching, wheels churning, ridding the earth of vermin and scum. It's time to kick butt and take names. And when we're finished, this world is going to be a better place to live.
Is he an actor or is he running for president? He's putting a lot of faith into the release of Smoking Gun 2. Though Bonetti brings him down to reality.
I'm not a nursemaid. I'm not a babysitter. I am a cop. I do not live in your land of make-believe.
Says the guy with the talking dog partner. Lady Ferrigno comes back to say that there's another dead dealer. Something that maybe could have been avoided if Bonetti was working on the case, or if Tequila wasn't, you know...
They had to bring the battering ram in to get the door broken down, right? But the dealers were still inside. Now they all pulled Uzis out. I'm surrounded by the place.
Tequila?
And before I knew... Oh, man.
Wait, I want to hear the rest of that story. Tequila was part of an ambush where he was surrounded by dealers with Uzis? That would make a perfect scene in the Tequila and Bonetti movie. At the crime scene, people do recognize Rydell as being famous, but they probably think he's Andrew Ridgeley from Wham. He mostly stands in the background doing movie guy stuff, cause, you know, he's in the movies. So let's show him a dead body.
Is that gritty enough for you?
I'm gonna go wait in the car.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
He wasn't expecting dead bodies at the crime scene. Things are a lot better at the police station. He's telling stories about working in the movies.
So I'm running. I leap onto the back of the bike. I'm holding on for dear life. Clint floors and I fall off on my rear, and that's when I decided to let the stuntman earn his pay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, Tequila was surrounded by dealers and Uzis and survived it, so beat that. Let's just hope he doesn't base his police research on Sergeant Terry Funk.
Have you ever met RoboCop?
Of course he thinks RoboCop is real. Of course he does. But to his credit, RoboCop is real.
RoboCop is a character in a movie portrayed by an actor named Peter Weller.
Oh. I'd be happy to meet either one of them.
The slow, dim-witted way he's talking, Paige Fletcher was probably his favorite RoboCop. But Eddie is still having none of this.
Captain, take a look out there. He's got the whole office turned upside down. Take a look at Garcia.
What's her problem?
Rydell is keeping everyone distracted when they should be looking for an armed vigilante. I see no problem here. What's Bonetti got against this guy?
The problem is, he ain't a cop. And we got somebody out there executing dope deals, and I don't need Pretty Boy tagging along for the ride. This guy's a safety hazard.
In what way?
Bonetti is 100% correct. So this whole time, I'm thinking to myself, is Bonetti the only real cop here? Hell, Captain Knight again threatens to make him a parking attendant if he doesn't babysit the movie star, because heaven forbid your best cop doesn't look for an armed vigilante assassin. In previous episodes, whenever Knight would do something to piss Bonetti off, it was always in their best interest, like keeping Tequila and Bonetti together as a team, seeing how they have a great arrest success rate. Here, he's strictly basing all of his decisions on which one will have the most shenanigans. He even makes Rydell live with Bonetti. Rydell appears to have a limo driver who just screams, "I like to watch," and this girl, named Ursula, just screams, "I will swallow your house with you in it."
You are a very rude man.
I am not rude. I'm from Brooklyn. And
yeah, you know, Brooklyn, that place that Ursula actress Faith Minton is from in real life. Took me a while to recognize her. I'm used to seeing her having kitchen fights with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Rydell's crew takes off, which also includes the poodle.
Hey, wait a second, B. I was just making my move.
I must warn you.
You have moves? Usually you just walk up to them and fuck them.
Hey, wait a minute, sweetie. Don't go yet. Oh, maybe I'll call you sometime.
Again, if you could show people that you can use a telephone, you could probably live in a mansion like Rydell's. Tequila is really going out of his way with the references this time around.
I feel like the Cartwright boys. Another night at home with my pa.
Okay, I had to think about that one for a second. He's using a Bonanza reference in order to imply masturbation. This is a dog after my own heart. Can he write for the Cinema Snob? He's even got the sex talk down, too.
I'd be bonding my brains out if you hadn't kicked Fifi out.
Really? Because you kind of look like you're about to fall asleep. And just like with Garcia's daughter, secrets are revealed when they're alone with Tequila, because he can't tell anyone.
The impossible dream.
Dream? Man, this is starting to smell like a nightmare.
What is going on here? Is he a murderer, or does he think he's a real cop? Will these questions be answered after the break? Yes.
Stick around. Tequila and I will be right back.
This episode has turned into such an Odd Couple-like sitcom that putting in a laugh track would seem kind of appropriate.
what kind of man spends 1 hour in the bathroom, huh?
That kind.
Who needs a laugh track, though, when Tequila's lines are already golden?
Man, it's like the Patty Duke show on steroids.
And by golden, I mean golden age of television. Between that reference and Bonanza, did Tequila watch a bunch of TV Land when recuperating from that gunshot wound? Since the plot of the episode is more about the partnership of Bonetti and Rydell rather than Tequila and Bonetti, Tequila mainly just chimes in to give one-liners that really have no bearing on the case, nor do they feel like they're part of any conversation with Bonetti, since Bonetti has most of his lines with Rydell. That makes this very much a Thanks Tequila episode, in which all of Tequila's lines can be summed up like this.
Oh man, this dude is dissing you big time, B.
Think you're funny?
Thanks, Tequila. Rydell and Bonetti are walking down the street dressed like the cyborg cop twins, and their plan is to find the next would-be drug-dealing victim. So they go scope out dealers at the local basketball court, because according to Bonetti, that's where all the potential dealers hang out. Bonetti mainly handles the lines here by himself.
How you fellas doing today? Oh, we're good. And how about you? Me? Well, I've been better. Oh, really? What seems to be the problem? Well, you see, I'm looking for some information. Oh, really? Maybe we can help you.
Jack Scalia is probably the best actor here, so he might as well have all the lines. But then Rydell begins quoting one of his own movies.
Listen, punk. You keep talking that talk, and I'm sure we could find some reason to toss your low-riding button to the slammer. So either sing or get used to living on the lam.
Fistful of bullets.
That's right.
That's one of my favorite flicks.
A Fistful of Bullets. So the #1 actor in the world is known for doing an Eastwood impression in a Dirty Harry knockoff with a spaghetti western title. Is the #1 movie in America Inglourious Basterds 2, Hell's Heroes? That had an Eastwood impression in it. Bonetti lines them all up, and good to know that they can still play basketball when carrying switchblade machetes. Wonder which one the guilty one is.
That's our boy.
Yeah, right, send me. I don't even have shoes. Man.
Because God forbid Tequila does something in this episode. We don't even see the chase. He's just already bitten off a piece of his ass. The kid gives Bonetti the name of a local drug supplier in town, a man named Shadow. And Rydell is looking at the drugs like he wants to snort it at a hooker party later. Shadow's hideout is in a pool hall in Roscoe, California.
Hey, watch it, Slick. I was born a couple of blocks from here.
Remember that line, because Tequila's place of birth changes throughout the series.
Hey, B, I don't think we're in Kansas no more.
You just implied that you're familiar with this area, and given that you're supposedly born here, this kind of is your Kansas. The scene is great, though, to see Tequila and Bonetti stare down a group of bikers.
Hey, they have a 2-for-1 sale down at the flea market.
That's funny, considering you look like a cow just blew up on you.
Could Jack Scalia take on a group of bikers? Yes, he could, and I'm disappointed that I'm not seeing that in this episode. So I guess the upstairs is a biker bar, but the downstairs is an 80s Chinatown lair of a drug kingpin. This is Shadow. I assume the lighting is the same on him no matter where he stands. If you see him, does he have to change his nickname? Does he have someone follow him with a big object everywhere to cast a shadow? But more importantly, has he seen Chad Rydell's movies?
Chad Rydell, you might have seen my last picture, Dancing with the Devil.
I hated that movie.
Dance with the Devil. Now his movies are based on lines from Batman movies. Can't wait to see the sequel, Chicks Love the Car. Bonetti thinks Shadow might be the next victim, which is impossible. Who would want to kill off albino Eddie Money? You can't kill Shadow. He's played by the episode's director, James Whitmore Jr. If he's dead, who will direct the rest of the episode? Shadow has contact information for a group of dealers who want to set up a meeting. These could possibly be the killers, but never mind that because Garcia is showing interest in Rydell, which is making Bonetti mad jealous. Like Bonetti and Garcia are really going to end up together anyway. Bonetti and Rydell begin arguing because Bonetti won't let Rydell go on the drug deal with him.
Oh, this ought to be better than Love Connection.
Okay, I guess Tequila was also watching a lot of game shows on his downtime. But the shtick with Rydell's Hollywood lifestyle and smarmy attitude is dropped for another awesomely dramatic Bonetti moment.
I had a partner 14 years. He had a wife and 3 kids. One day we walk into an apartment building, the next minute he's dying in my arms. He knew who I was! Now you might be able to buy your fancy cars and your big houses, but you can't buy people's lives. Because if you can, then you bring back my partner.
Fucking hell. And he didn't even tell him the story of the dead kid. And how many people have died in Bonetti's arms? I love that when things get too wacky, Jack Scalia is there to remind everyone, oh no, people die in this universe. Of course, that causes Rydell to do something stupid like set up the deal himself.
Oh, man, this dude is gonna kill you dead.
Oh yeah, I forgot that he pulled out a gun earlier. I guess that was supposed to show that he really wanted to play cop. I almost forgot about that. Beforehand, Tequila was really willing to step up to save Garcia's daughter, or take a bullet when searching for Bonetti's car. In this case...
You coming with me?
I got no choice.
Let's roll.
It really seems like Tequila doesn't give a shit. Rydell is definitely more excited about this than Tequila.
This is going to be better than a full-page ad in Variety.
Did you see the previous episode? Tequila likes pissing on full-page Variety ads. No one's gonna read it. Not even Rydell's enticing is cheering Tequila up.
I'll make sure you get top billing on this thing.
How is that supposed to cheer him up? He's already got top billing. And he still acts like he doesn't give a fuck.
Let's go get the bad guy.
Man, don't do this. Please don't.
All he has to do is bite Rydell on the leg, and that would probably stop him. But he gives so little fucks that he's solely depending on the voice in his head that Rydell can't hear. And it's just not the same seeing Bonetti on a motorcycle without Tequila in the sidecar. I think Tequila is taking advantage of Rydell not being able to hear him. Then Rydell won't be able to judge Tequila's rapping skills.
Yeah, right. You're a regular ice cube. Listen, man, it ain't too late to evacuate.
That felt more like a regular Johnny Cochran than Ice Cube. Oh yeah, and it turns out Shadow is the bad guy. The sinister dude who keeps his face hidden and looks like a painting of Rod Stewart getting older in his attic is the evil culprit. I don't know why he gave Bonetti a phone number that can be traced to the pool hall, tipping him off that the dealer assassin is Shadow himself. Maybe they didn't know he was the bad guy right away because Tequila didn't pee on him, like the evil car salesman. I love how in previous episodes, the villains of the week acted like they were in a straightforward thriller with no indication that the show was about a talking dog. Shadow, on the other hand...
It was an almost perfect plan until you and the good detective came into the picture.
He's playing his part like he's the opening act to a Van Halen concert, and all Tequila can muster up to say is...
Man, I told you this dude is whacked.
This is no time for an I told you so, Tequila. It's probably time to attack, but not after getting in more movie jargon.
It's funny, you know?
What's that?
I'm almost expecting someone to yell cut.
Well, it's a good thing you're telling that to the episode's director. He's the one who's supposed to yell cut. Bonetti finally shows up and Shadow gets distracted because holy shit, the dog could move. No one told him the dog had the ability to move. Which, to be fair, Tequila doesn't move a whole lot in this episode. Bonetti, on the other hand... like in other episodes, he still has the ability to blow you the fuck away. I may have some issues with this episode, but it's hard for me to get mad at any episode that ends with Bonetti putting bullets in a man's chest while his talking dog watches. For some reason, the other officers at the precinct are giving Rydell shit and calling him a fake. Which, okay, yeah, while what he did was stupid, it did take balls, and it did lead to the capture of that drug-dealing serial killer you were looking for. Even Donald Belisario himself shows up just to give Rydell a dirty look. Of course, Sergeant Terry Funk puts it best.
I'll bet he never even met RoboCop.
Probably not. He lives in LA, not Detroit. But there is a possibility that he met Richard Eden. He just didn't want to tell anybody. Even after thinking RoboCop is real, Terry Funk manages to have an even bigger brain fart.
I've gotta go, over there.
What is with this guy? Who made him a cop? And is that also what he says when he's simply done acting in the scene? Bonetti is the only one to give Rydell some props for locating the villain, only on one condition.
Give me back my suit.
Well, that's easy, but what does Tequila get in return?
I don't think you have to worry about Tequila. I think he found his reward.
Pull those puppies from that burning building. They said I was crazy to go in there 3 times, but that's the kind of dog I am.
There sure is a lot of poodle talk in this episode, but it doesn't seem complete without...
So, Fifi, you like Mexican food?
Well, I can't be too mad at this episode. It did work in the implication of burritos somewhere. Even the piano solo at the end is just Jack Scalia playing without any cutaways to the other characters. I guess they weren't doing anything interesting this time around. I choose to believe that this episode was less Tequila-centric because he had to prepare for the next episode in which Tequila not only falls off a 3-story window, but also meets up with his previous owner, a preteen girl whose brother puts a gun to her head and tries killing Tequila. Memories.